Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. It's great to be back and live this time. Today we're diving into something I've been looking forward to, setting up my brand new Windows Server 2025 environment for the first time. We're going to be talking about remote desktop, automation, and of course I'll answer all your questions along the way. So grab your drink, say hi in the chat, and let's get started building this 2025 lab together. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I didn't go on a vacation yet, Boris. I'm taking some time off to dedicate to the channel this time. I hope the music is not too loud. So what I've planned today is to set up my Server 2025 home lab. But before I get started with that, I don't know if there are specific topics that you guys would like to tackle today. No, today is my first day on vacation, so no time to have a holiday yet. I'll be doing the full GUI. I prefer that way. Also for remote desktop hosts, it's I don't think you can't do the core. So what I plan to do today, I've already set up videos about Server 2022. I've made guides before, and I want to replicate my current knowledge or my current writings and my guides, and to see if they still are compatible with Server 2022. So I've set up already a DC, a remote desktop gateway, and 2 remote desktop server hosts. They're only domain joined. I've set up the Active Directory, but that's it at this point. So let's start with the domain controller. And see if I still got it. If you guys have any feedback during the live stream, please let me know. It's my first time doing a live stream, so so forgive me if I'm a little bit nervous, but you guys will keep me good company. Oh, great to hear, Boris. So my previous RDS setup video, you have successfully deployed it. Great. Any hiccups? Anything you can add during your experience? So let's see. So I believe you already seen the videos then for Active Directory also. So I'm going to go to part 1, setting up the Active Directory certificate service. Yeah, it's good to be among friends. But still, it's the first live stream. I think it's normal to be a little bit nervous. It's going to be live, so no behind the scenes. So to install the Active Directory certificate service, we're going to need it for our internal root CA. We're going to go to Add Roles and Features. Just go to the motion here. The profile storage, you mean the user profile or with the FSLogix? No, the weighting you see here, it's everything I cut out in the videos. So now it's all part of the stream. No more boobs, or how do they call it? So let's see, we have to install the Active Directory certificate services. So select it, go next. And don't have to restart the server normally. Yeah, user profile and FSLogix, it's a little bit more difficult, but they're practically the same. The FSLogix is just the newer form and has a little bit more power and more versatility. So I would recommend to try it, even if it's just in a lab environment. Yeah, I know what you mean, Dad. If it works, don't mess with it. And if you have to update it, try it with one host first. So now the installation is finished, we can configure, and let's proceed. We select Certificate Authority, Enterprise CA, Root CA. You have to create a new private key. And these I like to rename a little bit so it looks nicer. How is the performance when running your Hyper-V cluster nested in VMware? Is it not too slow? Yeah, Swiss watches never break down. See, step 3 is configuring our policy to take effect of the root CA. Put security settings public key. And then enable auto enrollment. We do the same for our users. Nice, 100 users. That's not a small fish anymore. I hope everybody can still hear me okay, and the music is fine. I can lower or increase the volume if it's needed. Now let's start with installing the remote desktop service roles. Instead of role-based feature installation, we select remote desktop service installation. We choose a standard deployment. We want a session-based. Virtual machine-based is more for VDI setups. Oh, I went a little bit too quick. First, have to add my servers. So my gateway, my two remote desktop servers. And now we can try again. Select remote desktop service installation, standard deployment, session-based. And now I can see all my servers here, and I can select which one I want to select for the broker. I want to select my gateway server this time. Oh, great, I haven't tried guacamole yet. Is it, how can I know of Awingu or Citrix or any of those kinds of application. I believe Guacamole is also like an HTML5 frontend, if I'm correct. For the web access, we're also going to use the web server or the gateway web server. And for the host, we're going to select the two RDS hosts. We select restart the destination servers. Normally it's only going to restart to a remote desktop host. And now we wait again. Shouldn't take that long. Did you guys go to on a vacation yet? And to where? Maybe I get some ideas for my vacation. And where to Belgium? Are you going, Boris? Let me see. I should be able to also give you guys, because this is my first stream, I should be able to give a free membership. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Everything worked out. The first 5 people should receive a membership. I don't have a regular place for my vacations. The last 2 years I went to Spain, Lloret de Mar. 2 years ago it was fantastic. It was still 30 degrees in October, but last year it was rainy all the time. So I didn't plan to going back this year. And if I have to believe the news, it's also a rainy season this time. So for now I'm planning to stay home, get a bit of rest. It's been a busy year. Yeah, me too. That this year I didn't go on holiday also. Doesn't have to be a vacation every time. The winters in the past couple of years, they haven't been that cold. It's relatively warm. It's not that it's 20 degrees outside. You do have to wear a jacket at times, but we rarely see any snow or anything like that. It has been a couple of years, but it can freeze. So let's say around the freezing point, it can be during the winter times, but it's mostly from end of November to February, end of February, and it gets a lot darker a lot sooner. Where are you guys from? From Europe or? So these are the parts I normally cut out in all the recordings, all the waiting. I'm lucky, and IT gets to get paid by the hour, not by the project. Okay, in the US, and what time is it now in the US? It's not too late or too early this time to stream? New York City. I've heard a few colleagues of mine that went to a city trip to New York City. They were all amazed and can highly recommend it. Hey Patrick. Hallo buurman. Okay, 20 after 1, it's not that late. We'll see how long the stream can last this time. It's like I said, the first stream, so I have to still get used to it myself. But seeing how slow my deployment is going, I think we have enough time to kill. I think I should have given them some more cores. So today we're going to deploy our remote desktop services in server 2025. We'll see how far we'll go today. I plan to set up our remote desktop host, configure our FS logics, and perhaps if it all is working, we can even configure our remote desktop gateway with MFA in Azure. But that takes a little bit more effort because we also have to set up our interconnect sync to Azure, and maybe that's a little bit too much, and we can continue on that the next stream, but we'll see how far we can go. If anybody has other suggestions or any other topics they want to see, please let me know, and we can also surely discuss that. Yes, we will all love some stroopwafels. Some stroopwafels or some Belgian waffles. I've currently put myself on a diet, so no more sugar, no more bread, no more fun. For a couple of weeks, I had to lose a couple of pounds. That's true. Belgian waffles are the best when they're warm. In the meantime that we're waiting for our deployment, let me see if I can also open the firewall ports for our remote desktop gateway. So you mean running a Hyper-V and running Proxmox inside of Hyper-V? Is that what you mean, Patrick? So I don't know what firewall or router you guys are using at home. I'm using a Sophos Home Edition installed on a regular PC hardware. I don't know if it's still available, but you could download Sophos Home for free and get a free license with all the features. It just has to be an x86 hardware platform. I still like to run Hyper-V on my local machines, but I also have a cluster. I can show it to you guys. The famous cluster of mini PCs that I got, and that's still running my Proxmox node. So I'm using both. So I have a remote desktop deployment server that I'm running on my Proxmox, and this is my production environment, let's call it that, and everything that's to play with, I use my Proxmox node for that in a separate VLAN, or for demonstration purposes like this I like to use a Hyper-V still, just for quickly spinning up something, getting rid of it, and as you have seen in my latest video, it's quite easy to migrate from Hyper-V to Proxmox. So there aren't any limitations anymore. I think my firewall rules are still okay. HTTP, HTTPS for my certificate and remote FX. Looks good. And this I have to change. Because in this demo setup, I'm using different IPs. Yeah, especially with big tech guys like Broadcom taking over everything, like VMware. Yeah, Proxmox is the, how would I call it, the most versatile. If you're trying to play with a single node, it's great. If you want to try your hands in clustering, it's a valid option. And you don't need fancy boxes to create a hyper-converged node. With Ceph, you can just run 3 simple nodes with storage shared, with CPU resources shared, with RAM shared. So I also think it's a great choice still for the home lab, and even for the small business environment. You can get a subscription, you can get support. So I think it's a valid replacement for VMware also. In the meantime, we can also go to our next step and configuring our certificates and download certified web. And now deployment was succeeded. Perfect. Yeah, I've not tried the backup from Proxmox yet. Maybe it's something I can do for a next video. Let me write it down. What I currently are able to do is because I've connected my NAS to it, so I can just select my NAS as a backup location and select a manual backup or a schedule and just create a snapshot this way. So right now I don't use the Proxmox backup solution. For the Windows Server setup, I would recommend with the GUI. You used to be able to install it without the GUI and then install the GUI on top of it. But I believe since, I could be mistaken, but since I believe 2016, if I'm correct, you are not able to install the core version and then install the GUI on top of it again. You have to reinstall the entire operating system again. So nowadays, because resources are not that limited anymore, I would just install with the GUI and just assign a little bit less resources to it. And if it's a little bit slower, you can still remotely manage it with the RSAT tools and don't have to log on to the machine if it's necessary. So let's install Certify the Web. I don't know if there are any other solutions. I've not looked into them lately, but I find this is the most easy solution for Microsoft environments and ES servers to use Let's Encrypt certificates. Let's request a new certificate. There we go. Let's see. This should be already existing. Okay, perfect. Before you request your certificates, it's very important that your external domain is also registered in your DNS in your domain. Let's say in my case mylemans.online. You have to register rdgateway.lab.mylemans.online and register an A record to point to the public IP of the server. Now I've already created the necessary firewall rules to be able to connect to it. So in our case we should be fine, but it's very important you do that first because it can take a little bit of time. And let's see if the test works. Test is okay, perfect. Now we can request our certificate. Yeah, if you can use the core, it's perfectly fine. I know a lot of roles in a server are perfectly compatible with core. I think there are still a few, like I think the broker, remote desktop broker, is not compatible, if I'm correct, with the core. And yeah, of course, the RDS host himself. Yeah, correct. A couple of management servers that are definitely the way to go. A couple of let's call them jump servers, so you can segregate them if needed from the production. Well, certificate is already assigned. Yeah, looks good. Perfect. See if we can reach it. If we can reach it, perfect. No, I don't think your users will like the core as a remote desktop server. So configure our licensing server next. I'm also going to use my gateway server because it's all in one. We have our broker there, our gateway web access, everything is located here, also licensing, and it's easy to scale out our host without infecting the broker server. I work as a system engineer slash consulting slash network specialist. I'm what you call an all-around profile at my company. I do mostly project work. So I go to clients. I do let's say Azure migrations, deployment of new servers, configuration of an entire new network, access points, Wi-Fi. Whatever you can imagine, they assign it to me. Last week I was with migration of an existing Active Directory to fully Azure and Intune managed. Yeah, it was a busy week. Let's say it's a lot. You have to know a lot. You will have to learn a lot, but it's also very rewarding because with all the knowledge you have, you are, yeah, how do I say, well equipped to handle most situations. And because I come across all of those things at work, I like to also share it with you guys, create these small demo environments, create the necessary guides to also share it with my colleagues, with you guys. And it's also for me very helpful to fall back to everything, because there are a lot of steps and you can do it all by head. But it's easy to get sidetracked or forget something. So I really hope this is also useful for you, and that you learn along the way. Like you said, Boris, you also use it in your production environment, so that's also already a win. The rack is not in my room. I used to have it here in the IKEA closet behind me, but I moved it to the I have a little storage room, so where the water heater etc. is, like a little technical room, and it's there on a shelf, so it's out of the way. And power consumption is not that bad. The mini PCs normally only draw about 15 to 20 watts maximum, but I still have to measure the idle consumption. So it's not, let's say at most 60 watts at peak, but let's say it's about 20, maybe 30 watts for the 3 nodes. So it's not that power consuming. I've not tried the Azure Stack yet. We were planning to do it within our company, to switch over from our current Hyper-V cluster. But right now in our own data center we are using Nutanix. I haven't had my hands on it myself. I believe there's also a free version of Nutanix available. Maybe I can try it in the future. But because we moved to Nutanix, we are not, we haven't tried HCI yet. Yeah, power can be expensive depending on the country. In Belgium it fluctuates, expensive, little less expensive, but let's say that we don't throw away our power here. It's not like in some places like Canada, Vancouver, where the power is very cheap. Meantime, we also can install our gateway server. And we use the same FQDN as we use for the web access. What do you guys do for work, for professional use? Also, everyone in IT? Here's the link for Nutanix, Patrick. Be aware for, how do I say it, for production use or for Professional use cases, the licensing fees are ridiculously high, but for my understanding, it's a very robust system, and the support is phenomenal. So if you create a case, you get a real person practically immediately on the line to help you out. Oh, great. We are also a managed service provider at our company. We're now shifting more to the consultancy side of things instead of being a real MSP. But in the core, we are still, for most clients, an MSP right now. I don't have a lot of Linux servers in deployments at customers. A little bit of knowledge with virtual private servers that I know Linux, but I don't often interact with them. Oh, cool. Patrick, you are a developer, so maybe you can help me with some vibe coding projects in the future. I don't know if you guys know, but I also created a little side project while I was taking a little break. Let me spin it up again. I was planning to move my little cluster also to be visible in the stream. That's why everything is shut down at the moment. So I was working on a side project, Private Glue. At work, we are using the application IT Glue, and I really like it. It's really useful because you can. I don't know if I can show something. Is this maybe a good picture? Yeah, it's not the best example, but with IT Glue you can create assets, documentation, you can link everything together. So if you have let's say an Active Directory, you can give your admin and user and password there. You can link it to known issues, to documentation, to create users. But it's pretty expensive software site for documenting. It's perfect for MSPs, but for my home lab it was a little bit too expensive. So I started creating my own side project, and I called it Private Glue. You can download it on GitHub. It's free to try out. So I've created a repository. You can download it. It shows how you can clone it. You can run it in Docker, so don't have to do anything fancy with it. I also have a public demo version of it. I'll put it in the chat if you want to try out. Don't have to log in. The demo user is pre-populated. You can just log in. You can add devices if you want. Give it an IP, MAC address, select what device it is. You can save it. You can save notes in here. Let's say it is a test. You can link it to that device. Create a node. So everything is linked together, like in the IT Glue that we use for work. You can also create credentials for it. So we can say, okay, this is my workstation password or something like that. Let's say it's administrator. We also know this is the best password of them all. You can generate a password if needed. You can copy it if needed. You can also link it to a device. You can save it. So every time you look something up for your home lab, you can select it. You have the linked credentials that you need. You have your documentation that you need, and you can just find everything there. What I use it for also, and it's a little module I created. This is my Proxmox node, my RackMate T0 that I have added a little bit of a module that can fetch Proxmox details. Let's see if it still works. And here you can see the summary of everything through the API. So PV1 is my node 1, PV2 is my node 2, PV3 is my node 3. You can see the load, the memory usage, the uptime, what virtual machines are running on the node, what LXC containers. So this is the source of truth behind your home lab, to say at least. Yes, I have to look it up. I think right now I'm using the SQLite database, but I can move it to Postgres if needed. So everything should be in place to move it to Postgres, and it's developed in Flask, so in Python Flask. And I have no coding experience, so this is was my vibe coding project experiment, let's call it that. But I'm pretty well pleased with it. Everything is open source, so you can just go to GitHub, see the full source code here. So don't trust my word for it, look through the source code, you can see everything there. You can just deploy it as a Docker container. It's also from my Git that you can deploy the Docker container. Let's see if it's visible here. Yeah. So it's just from my own repo. And if you want to try it, you can just try it out on the live demo version. It will reset every hour, and it runs on DigitalOcean. So if you want to play around with it, you can just save anything here. This will reset every hour. I shouldn't say it because it's obvious. Don't put anything sensitive here because it's a public environment. But you can test it out, see if you like it. And if you got any other ideas or functions that can be added, can surely let me know. See if I missed anything. Can set a certificate later. Got a little bit sidetracked with my private project. Yeah, that part is also a little bit new for me, Patrick. All the pull requests and everything Git related, but I managed to survive it somehow. That's the downside of being a system engineer, not a software developer. So it was a little bit of a new territory also for me. I don't know if it would be fun to do some vibe coding project on the channel also, but perhaps in the future we can also do something like that. See, the next step would be to configure LSLogix and install VSLogics. I already downloaded the software. Could be a little bit of an older version, but I know this version works. It's 299. I don't know if there are a lot of newer 2.5. Yeah, it looks to be newer. IPMI, yeah, shouldn't be that hard, I think, to implement IPMI. Yeah, those iPads are great. I most of the time when I consume YouTube or do watch some live streams, I nowadays I just turn on my TV and use the YouTube app on that and relax on the couch. I find it a lot more relaxing. See, we've just downloaded the newest version of VSLogics. I have to also update it here. Yeah, that's true. But I noticed if you link your smartphone, you can watch it on your TV and also comment on your smartphone. See if I can still follow my own advice. We need to create 2 new shares, but first I will have to create an extra drive. In production, I would also always recommend using a fixed size disk, because I don't like thin provisioned, but in my lab environment I'm just going to use dynamically expanding. Currently I'm creating an extra data drive for our VSLogics profiles. I'm going to create 2 shares. I like to give everyone permission on the share level. And restrict security on the NTFS level. So let's disable inheritance and let's see if you have creator owner. Subfolder and files allow modify only. Administrators okay. Domain admins full control. And domain users this folder only, and also modify. And let's do the same for the other. Again, disable inheritance, remove these two, edit creator owner to only modify, add our domain admins to give them full control, and our domain users to modify this folder only. So the reason we give these permissions is the domain users are allowed to create their own user profile in this case when they first log in, and because they are the owner of those folders, they have permissions on all these subfolders and files. So they are the owner of those folders like desktop, etc., etc. But they are only allowed to modify their own top level folder on their own account name. Then we also have to include the AVSLogix ADMX and ADML files inside our group policy. So let's see. I don't think I have created a central store configuration yet. Let me just see, just in case. No, don't look like it. There we go, steps to create our own central store. So we have to navigate to this folder. Create a folder in policy definitions. And copy everything over from our local domain controller. No problem, Boris. Have a good rest of your day. Work good, and I hope I'll see you next time. I'm glad that you could have made it. Now we have created the central store. This central store is useful if you have multiple domain controllers. Instead of copying over, for example, our FSLogix policies. Otherwise, you would have to copy them on every domain controller manually, and with a central store, you just have to place them on one location on your shared network, and all the domain controls will replicate from this central store. So it's a little bit more useful, a little bit easier to work with. So now let's copy over our group policy templates for FSLogix. You can see the ADMX files here. So here we have to copy over the FSLogix ADMX file. And in the language folder, we have the ADML files. If you now open our group policy, let's say we create a new policy. We should be able to see our FSLogix policies. Here we go. Now we can configure everything FSLogix related with our group policy. To configure our policies, I've documented them. Go to our administrative templates, FSLogix, ODFC container, the configure enabled, root office cache, that's the thing with these policies, they keep renewing and sometimes they change names, sometimes they change policies. So include OneDrive, we see. Look. Outlook personalization. Skype. Teams data. Now the important part is the VHD location. So for the containers, we are going to use this one. select PHDX. Should be scriptable with PowerShell. I'm not 100% sure for creating the group policies, if you can do that with PowerShell, but you can create a backup and import them. So I have those in place right here. Let's see. So I have a GPO migration. So I have all my group policies backed up, exported, and ready to import. But for demonstration purposes, I'm creating them manually just to make sure that my guide for the 2022 version is still accurate for everybody else to also follow along. But if you can do an export from one template server, you can import them with PowerShell scripts for your group policies also. I made a little mistake here because this is not our containers share, but this is our profile share. And this is for our containers. The difference is for the ODFC containers, those contain your documents, pictures, desktop, everything that is static. And your profile containers will most likely contain the cached content, like for example temporary data, OST files, and all those kind of things. No, it's the other way around. I'm sorry. So the containers should only have the temporary data like OneDrive files, and your profile is the correct static files. So was getting the correct path. Yeah, that's correct, Patrick. Especially in large environments where you have to duplicate or scale out horizontally, it's important to be able to use it as code. And I think a lot of things are scriptable, shouldn't be a problem. And a group policy is something you set once on your Active Directory, and should replicate seamlessly across the entire environment. So let's see, we have enabled delete a local profile. Set Outlook cache. Good. The single sign-on policies I'm going to skip for now. The web feed also. And to create a collection, we go back to Server Manager, or Remote Desktop Services, Collections, and here we can create a new session collection. Let's call it full desktop for this example. I'm only going to select my remote desktop server 1. I'm going to use remote desktop server 2 for my remote app deployment in the later phase. I'm going to deselect user profile disks because we are going to use FSLogix. So in step 2, very important to disable that because it could be conflicting. Very important, we do not forget to install our FSLogix software on our host. And I like to store those kind of items on the netlogon folder. See, why can't I connect to those? Probably signed in with a wrong username. Yeah, that's what I guessed. So when you type in administrator, it changes to the local username and not the domain. Now we're back into the domain account. It's not really a big reason. The built-in solution is actually the same mechanical principle. It both uses VHD files to store the user profiles. The upside of FSLogix, and especially in Azure environments, is that FSLogix can stream your data instead of just presenting the data, and it's mostly useful because it splits two containers, one for the cached data like an OSD file, like OneDrive cache, all those kind of things, and because it's streamable, it could give a lot better performance, especially in the cloud environments. But for local deployments, I don't think there's that much of a difference. It's just a little, FSLogix is a newer technology, and it can store a lot more information. I have not heard that the built-in one will be out of support, because like in this instance we're installing it on server 2025 and they still provide the option, so I don't think we have to worry that it will be out of support just yet. See if I can open it now. Yes, now we can. Setup is complete, perfect, and let's try it out. Let's create a small user for myself. this is not going to work just yet because we haven't spoofed the DNS record. We'll do that first. Let's see what the exact URL was again. For RDS, if it's for home use, I would recommend using a VPN just to be on the safe side, because for production use we are setting up a remote desktop gateway in front of our remote desktop. We are not connecting directly over RDP. In this use case, we are using the remote desktop gateway to tunnel over port 443, and the gateway will provide connection to the remote desktop host. So in that case, it acts like a reverse proxy in that case. So it's a lot more secure. Username and password traffic, etc., is already encrypted, so it should be safer. But I would highly recommend locking it down on, for example, country level. So if you open it up and the users are only using it from, let's say, from within Belgium or France or the Netherlands, country lock it down on firewall level, so that your remote desktop environment is only available from, let's say, for example, from Belgium or from the Netherlands or from France, and not the entire world, just to be sure. Start by creating our new organizational unit structure. Let's call it lab. Let's create another one. Let's call it RDS host. We can place our two nodes here. And the reason I'm doing that is to link our new Logics policy directly underneath that URL for our RDS host only. So the Logics will not be applied to anything else in our organization. And of course we have to do a GP update first so they can be applied. So how are you guys liking the stream so far? If I'm going too fast or if it's not clear at some points, please let me know. Like I said, this is my first stream that I'm trying out. So it's a little bit of a playground for me also to see what is a good pace to try and not forget to interact with you guys, because I have the tendency to focus on my work and then just go at it. So if it's a little bit too quiet at some points, I apologize. By the way, the music that you are hearing is from a fellow YouTube creator. It's I'm Kibitz. I don't know if you have heard from him before. He's a game streamer. I'll post a link in the chat if you like the music, so you can check it out for yourself also. As a fellow creator, I like to watch on my Friday when he streams. He has a lot of these, do we call it, more lo-fi, loungy style of music. So it's, in my opinion, perfect for background music. Anything fun you are working on right now, Ted? If our policies are linked. Yeah, should be good. We have our policies right here. Perfect. Yeah, I'm living between Wilrijk and Boom. That's where Afsluit is located. and pretty conveniently located between the 2 or 3 major highways. So if I have to go to Brussels, I can be there quickly. If I have to go to the other side of Belgium, I can be there quickly. The only downside is that I'm also in the middle of all the traffic jams, so that's a little bit of a downside. Yeah, country geolocking is also, it's easier nowadays to act to be coming from the same country, but geolocking, let's say, if your firewall is open for any location, then you can attack from literally any location. But if you are geolocking from Belgium or France or Netherlands, it's a little bit harder to first guess the location, a little bit more inconvenient for hackers to set up a VPS and connecting through that site. What we also like to do is if they are working from, let's say, they have a branch office somewhere that they like to connect from, then we do not geolock, but lock it from that public IP, from that branch location. So we don't lock it from geo, but from their public IP to lock it down even further. And then see. I know a colleague of mine is also trying out ZTNA. I don't know how it's called in Azure yet. It's trying to do it for a company with the Azure VPN stack also. So it looks for the client that it's transparent that they are connecting to a VPN. So they don't have to manually connect to a VPN. The PC just auto connects. So I think that's more of the way to go nowadays. You guys can see an error already in my configuration, and let's see if it's also here. Yeah, I did a double underscore. So I was wondering why my profile was not being created. And of course it cannot work if you set up a wrong share location. This is why I needed a vacation. Let's renew our policies one more time. And this looks better. Waiting for FS Logics, so now we should be able to see our newly created profile. And here we go. We have our first disk and our second disk. So now we're logged in on our remote desktop environment with FS Logics. So I don't know how long it took, but let's say an hour or two, and we have set up an RDS environment in our home lab with FS Logics. Okay, there are still a little bit of fine-tuning we have to do, like installing Office, setting up our certificates, etc. But functionally speaking, we have our deployment set up. So I don't know if this was my main topic or purpose for today. So we have accomplished that. I can go a little bit further, setting up the other stuff, but I don't know if there are topics that you guys want to see or questions that you want to ask, because I don't want to fully dedicate the entire stream to this. I also want to give some time for you guys to see if there's any feedback or things you want to talk about. I think fundamentally it's not that big of a difference. So let me open up my own Proxmox node. I've created a video also on installing Proxmox. See, so we create a little guide on how to install Proxmox, also how to create a 3-node cluster. And the part that you are looking for is the vMotion, if I'm correct, is the migration from node to node. So in this case, I have my WS server, and I can just say, okay, migrate. And for example, instead of my node 2, I wanted to go to node 3 and just click migrate. And because it's located on the exact same Ceph cluster, it will only migrate the memory, so the RAM needs to be copied, but the disk itself stays on the same storage location. So it's pretty fast. So now you see it's already migrated from node 2 to node 3. And there a little bit of a network downtime, of course, because it's disconnected for a little while, but it's pretty seamless. So let me see if I can connect to it. Let me do a ping. And even migrate it back. See if I can find something that moves. And except for a little bit of a timeout, I didn't notice anything during the migration, so it's pretty great in my opinion. So perhaps users that are working on it will experience a little bit of a delay, but that's it. Don't know if that answers your question, Ted. Yes, there's a shared storage. So I've set up Ceph. Let me see if I can show it here. So I've Ceph set up on each node. So here you can see it. So I have a dedicated SSD on each node. So node 1, node 2, node 3. And those disks are shared between them over the network. So let's say this is a RAID 1 or RAID 5 in comparison over the network shared between the nodes, and each node can share it directly. As you can see, it's just one single storage node. And because of that, the migration between nodes is it's really quick and just needs to copy over the RAM that's used over the network. And in my cluster I'm using 2.5 gigabits. I ripped out the Wi-Fi card from my mini PCs and replaced it with a 2.5 gigabit network card. Let me see if I can show an example. So I have 3 of those Pro Desks, and I rip out the Wi-Fi card and replace them with these. So these are cheap from AliExpress, 2.5 gigabits. I think they were maybe 12 euro. Let's say that's roughly maybe $12 or something like that. Any other topics that you guys would like to, or questions that you would like to talk about? because we can do everything right now. And for the next stream, I don't know if you guys would like to continue on the server 2025 topic, or perhaps do something something different, maybe Proxmox related. We can maybe try out a Proxmox backup server that was mentioned in the beginning of the stream. That's something I haven't tried out yet. So it could be fun to experiment with during the live stream. Also have to get used to the delay in the stream and in the chat. Something I also have to get used to. If there are any urgent questions, please let me know, Patrick. I'm here to answer them. And there are a lot of videos to go through. I've created quite the archive already. And you will notice in the beginning that my first videos are most of the time without voiceover or something like music, because first I started with just documenting them for myself and I didn't expect them to be so popular, but over the times it increased in popularity, so I started voiceovers and now the live streams. I have to say it's been a lot of fun to sharing this knowledge with all of you, and everything that I've learned I want to share with everybody else, so everybody else doesn't have to make as many mistakes that I have made. It's like they say, you only learn something after breaking it enough times. Yeah, I try to do everything that I encounter, also write a blog post about it. So during my time away from making new content, I had to also upgrade my Proxmox from version 8 to 9. I didn't make a video about it, but I did make a guide from it, especially with Ceph. It was a little bit more confusing, a little bit more complicated than I first thought. So I would recommend, if you also have a cluster with Ceph, read it first before you try to just upgrade everything, because when you read it, it's pretty easy, but if you have never done it before, it's a bit complicated and you could break things. So for next stream, I'm going to write down the Proxmox backup server to take a look for in that application. Let me see if I have a spare node that I can experiment with. Yeah, Azure Active Directory is also a good topic to further get into. I've already made some videos about it, Ted, with the migration and how to migrate from AD to Azure AD. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see this one. How to migrate from AD to Entra ID using Intune. And also explains everything how to convert. But it should be a good topic because that's something we also need to set up our MFA for our remote desktop, our new Server 2025. So that's an in-between step we have to do to make that working. We're writing it down also. So I don't know what is the most preferred. Let me see. There was something I can do about that. I can make a poll, I think. If I can make it work, yeah. So what should we do on the next live stream? Should we do the Proxmox backup server, continue with the remote desktop series, or perhaps do the Entra ID integration? Split decision. See if we can do both. And if I think Proxmox backup server shouldn't take that long to set up if I have the right hardware, because if I'm correct, they recommend using a dedicated machine for that. So if I can't find a dedicated machine, then we will do the Enter ID integration. For Enter ID, it's mostly cloud related. And nowadays you can do, for example, a few years ago you could only sync your Active Directory to Enter ID, so one-way synchronization. But nowadays you can make Enter ID your source of truth and sync that back to the to your Active Directory also. So maybe you can experiment with both ways. I believe that most of the times with most small to medium businesses, you should be able to go Enter ID for most of the things. I shouldn't need that many on-premise resources anymore. That's my opinion. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the first stream. It's not the largest stream or the longest stream probably that you have ever seen. It's my first time streaming. I enjoyed it very much. Enjoyed your guys' company. Enjoyed the time spent together. I'll see if I can find hardware for the next stream for the backup server, or we can do the Enter ID integration then. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to enter stream now, or if you have any more questions, I'm happy to stay around a little longer to answer them. But otherwise, I'm going to grab some lunch or some dinner. Thanks everyone. And I'll see you next week. Should be the same time, also Monday, same hour, and perhaps we can make it a little bit longer. I will see if I can make room for that. If we can do both topics, I'll see if I can make a video in between. And for the rest of the time, I'm also going to enjoy my vacation. And that's it. Thanks for being around. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.